The representative of the Environmental Foundation for Africa (EFA), Christiana Freeman, has said that the introduction of herbal medicines in the country's educational school curriculum will help preserve our forest and promote traditional medicines for its inhabitants. The primary objective of the enactment of the National Protected Area Authority is the oversight authority over the country's biodiversity and to maintain its natural state. It is also mandatory for the National Protected Area Authority (NPAA) to collaborate with other stakeholders in developing concept and project so as to generate sustainable financing for protected area management. Speaking at a two-day consultative workshop on legal policy framework and guidelines for the involvement of non-governmental organizations, civil society groups, community-based organizations and the private sector in the protected area management at the Senior Police Officers Mess Kintom in Freetown, the EFA representative Christiana Freeman re-emphasized the need for the introduction of herbal medicinal plants in schools curriculum with a view of building the capacity of pupils and students in the fight to improve our forest reserves as well as raising awareness in their various communities. She noted that apart from the sustainability of the initiative for schools, it would also help the NPAA to be able to generate income from the country's forest reserve.
Well, I guess the forest provides us with so many benefits, like it gives us food, it gives us clothing, shelter, and even medicine. Well, I'm actually focusing on the medicine aspect. If we could see Ghana going up to date, because they focus on the schools, they focus on educating young people about learning more about herbs. For example, if we educate the school children on herbs and making them know more about herbs, I'm sure they could use that to generate revenue for themselves and even provide employment for themselves. And even, I guess, tourist school, people will come from different countries and they could use our herbs and our samples to just cure some of the diseases.
One of the participants, Ahisha Josiah, while dilating on the recommendations on how the natural state of the country's biodiversity will be maintained and sustained for human existence, implored NPAA to engage communities and sensitize them on the essence of keeping the country's reserves in a guaranteed state of livelihood for the inhabitants.
My recommendation is that NGOs should engage communities and get them to develop woodlots in communities. When it is done with seriousness, when it is done on a large scale, they should be able on every woodlot to have firewood for cooking. Charcoal will be burnt without interfering with the traditional forest. Timber will be available from those woodlots, and each time they are harvested, they will regrow. By the next year you have enough. For example, if you cut down a yemeni tree, you can get charcoal from it, you can get board or whatever sticks you want. At the same time you get firewood. And by next year, it's already ready for another harvest. Of woodlots goes also to the sea. People harvest the mangrove trees for firewood. They could easily be replanted immediately, because when they are cleared off, if you notice, as at now, we don't have enough fish, because the roots of the mangrove trees, the shade of the mangrove trees is where the fish breed. So when they are cleared off, they move away, they migrate, they go to other places looking for spawning areas. So again, in those areas, each time you harvest a mangrove tree, just cut down the edges and replant them with immediate effect so that the forest remains.
The acting executive director, NPAA, Kate Karimo Garnett, told Star News that recommendations made by several participants at the workshop will be addressed with the availability of funds. The values and benefits of Sierra Leone's biodiversity and wildlife conservation must be simplified to community inhabitants with a view to preventing mismanagement. Compiled by Wahida Sise, Eric Silaskawa reporting for Star News in Freetown.